What's up, everybody? Here for another update and to go over the liquidation effort. We're going to go over all the parts that are for sale. All sorts of things. We got a lot of parts. And I'm going to keep trying to come up with creative ways to move these parts along. But I think the main thing that I need to go over is the crankshaft situation. So I have a few more, I believe actually 3 more crankshafts, well 4 if you include builds. 4 more crankshafts to go out. And then on top of that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have 12 cranks. I'm going to keep 1, so 11. And then I'm probably going to keep 2 just in case something happens, if something gets lost in the mail or whatnot. So basically, I think that's what I have on the store is 9 available. And the problem is these need to get pulled apart for various reasons. And then there's one assembled, but actually some people are owed cranks and their stroke isn't assembled, so I think these rods might go to them first, unless I can negotiate with them to wait a little bit. So rods, there's like 4 different places I can get rods from. None of them are great solutions, and they're all about like maybe double what I originally paid. But that's still workable. But essentially, trying to track down the best deal, I still don't actually have an order in. My original supplier has a minimum order of 100. So these are all Piaggio, but if you see on the website of what's available, only some of them are a larger stroke. And so this one here is a 40 stroke, or at least when, you know, it's assembled and balanced. So what happens with the 40 stroke is you need to run this extra 1/4 inch spacer. And the reason is the Piaggios we run normally run a head like this, and then we go from running the piston like this to running piston pop-up. So essentially we're dropping the cylinder down by quite a bit. So when you go and run lower stroke, you end up needing a spacer. Now technically the ones that run a spacer and lower stroke should on paper make more horsepower, but they should also make less low-end torque. Although these are extremely torquey engines, so in any case it'll have a lot of torque and just be a great running engine. I think if you want to do top speed runs, get yourself a 42 stroke Piaggio. And I had a chance to get my hands on this Athena top end for the Piaggio, and I will say I thought it was much nicer than the Stage 6. It maybe wasn't as aggressive, but I think that cylinder would have a lot of character, and the fins look nicer. All right, and I also shipped out a bunch of pull starts, finally. The issue with the pull starts, the reason I held up was because I was still playing around with the temper of this small sprocket. Because it's small, and where the keyway lines up with one of the teeth, if you tighten this bolt down too much with an impact, it can cause a crack in between the teeth. Now to remedy this, I could, of course, just not tighten the bolt so much, but I'm worried, you know, customers would just do that anyways, is I could try to re-temper this at a higher temperature to soften it a little bit. And that's what happened with the gears from China, where they did that to try to stop cracking, and they ended up making the gears mushy, and they failed early. So I don't want to push that too far. What I did instead was I included instructions that mention the tempering so people can try tempering it at home at a higher temperature. And I simply included multiple drive sprockets. So that's that, and this is a really, really interesting setup. It takes a pole starter and the pole starter driver from any of these 6.5 horsepower Harbor Freight, Honda, whoever pole starters, and the different holes are for the different type of starters and all different positions. And also there's some bonus ones for exhaust mounts and whatnot. Also, I have a 2-speed kit, and if I ever actually go to make that, there's some holes in there that are needed for that kit to work. And the cool part is it has a 3/4 inch shaft output, and it's an exact replica of the output shaft on a Harbor Freight 212, which is a replica of a Honda GX200. So there you go, you got the normal 3/4 keyway. And that's 5/16/24. It's not M8x1, which is it's nearly identical to this thread. This thread is M8x1. 5/16/24 is unfortunately like basically a clone, but